thanks everybody for coming out. I can't stress how thankful we are for the partnerships we have, existing, current, and potentially new partnerships that we will form throughout the years to come. And partnerships with the manufacturers, distribution, and then of course even our end user customer clients. The partnerships are very imperative. I'm excited to dive into some trailer discussion today. Let's see if the clicker's working. Okay. Before I really dive into this, technically I'm last because we have the panel after I'm done talking about mobile security. And so I wanted to just do a little bit of a recap of some of the notes. And look, we're after lunch. So, people tend to get a little bit tired. It's getting, we're wrapping this thing up. And so I wanted to just recap a few of the highlights that I took away from some of the conversations we had with Tim, Steve, so Linnell S2, Milestone, Quang with Axis, Joe, and Mark, and then Greg just went. And so I took a few notes, there's a few things that highlight, but they absolutely tie right into the solution that we've built. And we've really gone off and embarked in a whole new world here because we're a systems integrator, we're a services provider. So for us to go out and actually become a manufacturer and develop a product and a solution to solve a problem, that's a whole new world for us in a lot of ways. And we've learned a lot over the last several years as we've sought out to build this. And I'm going to talk a little bit about that, but I want to just kind of highlight a few things that we've already talked about today. That this solution really hits home on. One of them is open platform. Tim Palmquist with Milestone talked about that earlier. Open platform, that is a winning model. We truly believe in that because it doesn't lock our clients into any type of product. So you have the ability to bob and weave and change and not have to rip and replace your hardware or even your software. Software has interchangeability. The hardware has interchangeability. And I'm going to talk about that with this solution that we have here. The power of multiples. So that is truly that conversation of bringing everybody together in a room like this and having these conversations. What are the things that are keeping you awake at night? What's working, what's not working? And how can we adapt? How can we innovate? And how can we make a better solution overall? And that was something that Steve talked about. The customer experience, that is so important to us. That's why we have a global technology center. This is an opportunity for us to get together and experience the solutions and the people that we work together with and find out what's working. How can we solve the problems? What are the things that you guys are dealing with if you're an end customer or if you're a manufacturer? What are the things that we're seeing out in the field? Generally, if one of our clients is having an issue or concern with a product or a software or a bug, all of our customers are going to see that. And that's part of that ecosystem and standardization that we bring, that Stone Security brings. Cloud. So we hear this term all the time. I'm going to talk about how this solution really leverages the latest and greatest technology of cloud processing and cloud management. We talked about proven leaders. So what are the value of proven leaders? So that's one thing that we've done with this solution here is we have teamed up and partnered with industry-leading technologies, the very best products. And I'm going to dive pretty deep into some of that, what that means for you, the customer. Tell us what you want. Steve mentioned that. Like, we want to know what you want, right? So if there's better ways or ideas that you have, we absolutely love that. This is not a one and done. When you guys see this final product that we have and that we're offering, there will continue to be better versions, and we want the feedback from you, our clients and our partners. Give us more ideas. I mean, there's probably 4 or 5 conversations today alone of technology partners, of innovations that you guys have that we can augment and make this a better solution. And it's vice versa. We have feedback to our manufacturing partners as well. There's one last thing. I have a ton more notes. I'm going to skip back because I'm excited to really get into this. But one last thing. The Stone Security team has been here. I believe most of us traveled in either Monday night or Tuesday. And we've had a chance to get together amongst ourselves as a team, as well as with our partners. And that time that we've had together has been really strength building. And that's something that we bring, again, to our end user clients. But I guess it was, I think it was 2 days ago, Andy had a pretty interesting analogy, and I wanted to kind of bring that up. So he talked about the honeybird. Honeybird or honey finder. So there's a bird, a honey badger. It's a cool analogy. Honey badgers don't see very well, and they don't smell very well. Or they don't hear very well, sorry. They don't see well, they don't hear very well. And so there's a symbiotic relationship that they have with a bird. The bird finds the beehives, and then it makes a noise, and it lets the honey badger know where it is. So they work really well together, right? They're a team. As a team, they're able to find what the final product is. And we talked about that together, I guess it was Wednesday night as a team. And that is exactly what Stone Security is doing with you, our partners, and our end user clients. We're working together, right? It's a symbiotic relationship. We want to know what your needs and concerns are. We want to know what the initiatives that you have in your business environment, and we want to pull in our partners and our own team and figure out how to solve those problems together. And together, we're much stronger, and especially if we leverage and work with open platform technologies, right? We have the ability to, again, move a lot quicker. So with that being said, just talking a little bit about the timeline or the history of the trailers. So what I have up here is a few pictures. We have Aaron, who will be up here on the panel next. He is very familiar with the one, I guess that'd be on your left up here. The Silver Beaver. So that was Aaron, 8, 9, 10 years ago that you worked on that trailer? So let's say roughly a decade ago. Technology's come a long way since then. Back in those days, you had to have a server, very power hungry. The camera technology wasn't nearly where it is today, which I'm going to dive into. But these are solutions that for many, many years, a lot of time and effort and work has gone into figure out how can we perfect this mobile security solution. You'll see the other trailers, those options next to it. You'll notice they have the big NyQuil coil that goes all the way up. And then they have just kind of like the cow's udder, just a whole bunch of different cameras hanging off that have a blind spot in the middle. The trailers aren't really that robust. You'll see the other one that has a wind turbine on it and has some thermal technology on it. We look at weight ratios, like what works well on the mast, trying to find just the right mast. Does the wind turbine actually add value? Because you have to set that up, you have to take it down. How long does it last? How much power does it generate? All of these different things to think about. And then we even looked at, which camera model do we use that Axis makes? They have a lot of different flavors. Which one is going to be the very best that we can use on these trailers? So we spent a lot of man hours, a lot of time, and a lot of years of experience with our team and with our partners to figure out and really dial this in. One thing we noticed too, our clients came to us and said, hey, you know what? Look, we've got a bunch of these out there that we've already been playing with, and we're seeing some major flaws. One of them being that inside of either if it's up on the mast in a cabinet or if it's down at the bottom of the trailer in a cabinet, what we're seeing and experiencing, and we got called in to do a lot of repairs on these, or the reliability just wasn't there. One rainstorm, the whole thing goes down, doesn't work. A couple days of no sun, the whole thing doesn't work. So when we start to open them up, what you find is inferior or substandard products, many of which are not rated to be ruggedized. They're not rated to be inside of a mobile unit. They're not rated for the weather. So you can see up here what is wrong with this picture. And if you look at that really close, you'll see there's mid-spans in there that are not ruggedized. They have no business being out in the elements inside of a can like this. You'll see the cabling and the connectors have no business being installed like this. Not to mention everything is just slammed into a little teeny box. It's very messy. And that's a support engineer's nightmare to have to get into that and figure out what's what. So that was something early on that we sought out to refine and fix for our customers. That was a problem that we saw with all the products that were out there. They just weren't that well done or very clean. We also noticed, I have a few examples here. Greg mentioned this, you see these in the parking lots. We'll take a look at them, and then as you guys leave today, we have one just right out front. Some of you have already looked at it. Look at the difference. Seeing is believing. All you have to do is look, and you can see that there is a substantial difference. So with these photos up here that I have, there are a few examples, and it's very consistent to what's on the market today that we sought out to fix and resolve and refine and perfect. It's the cable. So we don't want exposed cabling. Exposed cabling is a prime target. That's generally what these mobile units seek out to do, is deter people from cable theft, copper theft. That's a big problem. Catalytic converter theft. The nice thing about these is if you have a construction site, we can drop these on that construction site and provide immediate security. But if you have a big cable dangling in the air with a light flashing on it, you're kind of telling everybody like, hey, look, just come snip this cable. And not only are you going to disable the entire system, but you also just got yourself some copper. And so you can see that in a couple of these pictures. Another thing you'll notice too in here is I think Andy tagged, or this is kind of his idea of the udder effect, I think, or the udder of darkness. Yeah, udder of darkness. And I love that because you look at these photos, and again, think of like a cow's udder, right? You've got the cameras hanging down, but the legs are in the way. So you can't get a good view of what you're trying to see. You have a mast that's right in the way. And so what do they do to mitigate that? Well, you seeing is believing right here. So you use a multitude of cameras, a couple PTZs, a couple bullets, shooting out. So now your power draw goes way up. Your weight ratio on your mast goes way up, which I'm going to talk and show you guys some examples of why that's not a good thing here in a second. It looks really bad. Again, the weight, just cranking these up. So these are all hand crank masts that have a cable. So good luck cranking all that weight up, because as that cable rusts, you get out to the area where Nigel lives out in the Pacific Northwest, and you get all the rain and the salt from the sea. Well, that cable is going to rust up, and in a couple of years, that's going to snap. And I've seen that happen. And I've seen, I want to say, pretty close to hundreds of thousands of dollars in equipment come down and almost kill somebody, but then all that equipment's destroyed. Axis isn't going to warranty those cameras, I don't think, right, Quang or Joe? I don't think. If you send those back, like, hey, we dropped these 30 feet from the air, you're probably not going to get a warranty. So that's another issue. Guy wire, the one that has the red box up in the air, you notice guy wires hanging down. Well, that's because their stability, they have too much weight, it's not balanced. I mean, guys, this is sloppy. These are sloppy built trailers. We have cleaned that up. We have fixed that problem. So this is what we sought out to do. This has to be fixed. We got to solve it. You have to, if you want to see the trailer itself or rep a load, then you have to add another fisheye camera. Well, then you have to de-warp that. So how many devices do you have? So again, sloppiness. Let's fix that. We also saw another thing that really is near and dear to my heart. Like I'm a big believer in what's called the broken window effect, or the 5Ds. I use that, or the concentric rings of security. I use that term. The 5Ds, just to keep it really simple, the first one, and in order, in my opinion, would be deter. So any security initiative that you deploy, the first D should be deterrence, right? We want to have, when somebody's thinking about being a bad actor, left of bang, we want to deter that from happening to begin with. So these units need to be a deterrence. How can you deter crime if you actually are a broken window? So you have broken solar panels. So a few examples up here that I wanted to show. The one in the middle, it's a little hard to tell because there's shadows. It's shady underneath that trailer. This is a mobile security unit that I went into a big box store a couple months ago and happened to park. Because I'm in the industry, where do you park? Everybody knows you park wherever there's video surveillance, right? So even though I know most of these trailers that are out there don't work, because they're not mobilesecurity.net trailers, it's still the deterrence. But then guess what I find out when I get out of the vehicle? I see the pieces of wood stuffed underneath, broken bottles. The one on the one on your left up here, the blue one, if you look closely, you'll see the little lock boxes for the stabilizers have been ripped off and they're laying around. There's garbage all around. Cones that are tipped over with tape around them. They're rusted out. So I see that and I'm like, well, that's a broken window. So that's now actually the worst place to be, because broken windows attract crime. And there's a book written about it. There's studies done about it. So graffiti, broken windows, damaged buildings, you've got to clean those up. We have several retailers in here. You guys know when you have that stuff in your restrooms or on your building, that's top priority. You clean that fast, because if not, it attracts more crime. Well, But when you have a security device that its first and foremost responsibility is to deter, and it's attracting, that's a problem. So we sought out to solve that issue. You'll see the last little cart. We see this all the time, like, hey, look, I don't want to spend very much money, but I want to have a mobile security unit. Well, do it right, do it the first time. That's really our motto. If you're going to do it right, and do it once. And so you'll see the little cart over here that is missing its solar panels, it's missing its recorder, and it's missing all of the cable. It's been completely stripped. So now it's a broken window for sure. And that's one of those things, like, you just a poor sloppy design, and that's what you're going to get. So I wanted to show that. That's what we seek out to avoid. So deter. Detect is the second D of your 5 Ds. So deter, detect, delay, deny, and defend. Those are your 5 Ds. And we've built a solution that covers all 5, which I'm going to dive a little bit deeper into. But I mean, gosh, let's keep it basic. Let's just talk about deter. This is not acceptable. So here it is. Here's our mobilesecurity.net solution. And just a few things that we've done, and I'm gonna do a little bit of a deeper dive for everybody, and then I'm gonna show you guys some real world examples of how robust this trailer is. So it's zinc primer, powder coated, lifetime warranty on the trailer frame. We have partnered with the best in class fabricators to build the best possible frame and trailer design you can find. The most robust, well-built trailer that I've personally pulled these down the road going pretty fast. I'll just say the speed limits, 80 miles an hour we have, and for some reason people go a lot faster, and I don't like it when a semi is behind me. So, I've gotten maybe a little bit over 80, no problem with this trailer. It's like it's not even there. And I'm going to talk about a little more of why. Height adjustable, so the hitch on the front, again, we have one of these out front. Look at the hitch. It's height adjustable. You can completely remove it. That's the right way to build a trailer. It's got an electrical actuated solar tilt. We've seen this. I'm going to show you guys some examples. We've had 2 hurricanes in the last 2 weeks, massive hurricanes. Sean, you live in Florida. It's not good. These trailers get deployed to areas where you need quick deployment because you probably are going to lose power and data, and you need security quick. Well, if you don't want to have a big kite up in the air when you have 125 mile an hour winds, which we saw yesterday, you need to be able to lower that down. You also have human capital expenses and costs. So we don't need to have 4 guys out there, or even 2, to set up one of these trailers. We want to have 1 guy out there, preferably, right? So hit a button on your phone, raise the panels. And then if you have an issue, you're at your house, at the office, you got big windstorm coming, hail coming, hit a button, lower the panel down, or lower your solar array down. So that's a nice advantage that these have. Let's jump to the next one. So why red? So there is, believe it or not, so red looks cool. Let's be honest. That red with those black wheels looks legit. We have some white ones back here. They just don't look as good. But there is a reason deeper than just looks, right? So red actually, there's a lot of psychology behind the color of red. And I'm going to give you a few examples. I have one up here. Anybody that has kids or into cartoons, red is associated with anger. These trailers are mad. If you're coming on the property to cause harm or do damage, deter, guys. Remember, deter. That's your first D. So this is a mad trailer, right? So think of that. We know stop signs. So I threw this up here, stop signs. Everybody knows any country you go to, danger or something, a stop sign, that it's red. Like, it doesn't matter if you can read those languages or understand them or not. You know that means stop, right? Red calls for your attention. I have tons of studies that I'm happy to share with anybody of the reason why red is excellent at deterring crime. Orange is associated with traffic. That not crime deterrence. That's construction sites, traffic cones. Case in point, anybody ever seen The Wizard of Oz? It's a classic, right? The red shoes. So you think about even production in movies, red, the color of red, it pops, it means something. The little girl in, trying to think of the name of the movie, Schindler's List, the red jacket, the girl that has the red jacket. That's another example of the color of red. It means danger, it means beware, it means watch out. And so again, tons of thought went into the reason why we use red. And you can pick any color of trailer you want from mobilesecurity.net as long as it's red. So I'm just taking a page out of Henry Ford, right? We do a car in any color as long as it's black. All right, let's jump this one. So a couple things that you'll see at the top of the mast with the way that we've engineered this. So a lot of thought and care has gone into what we have at the top of the mast. And this is important because we get often people will say, well, hey, can I put this up there? Can I do that up there? And it's not a matter of yes or no. Like, we can pretty much put any camera up on top of the mast, or even sensors. We can do the radar sensors up there, thermals up there, but we want to have a product that we can easily support, that we know that works, and that we can manufacture and get them out there. Because a lot of our clients, it's not one or two. A lot of them are like, hey, I need a few hundred of these, right? So we have to be able to manufacture them and support them. And we've done a ton of testing on this solution. So the biggest thing is we want to have 0 blind spots, and we don't want the cow's udder up top. So we use 2 hemispherical cameras from Axis. They're amazing. They have light finder. If you don't know what light finder is, we'd be happy to talk more about it. Just suffice to know that we can give you a beautiful color image in extremely low lux levels. And when I'm talking extremely low, like if you lit a candle in a pitch black room, we can, with an Axis camera, with a newer one, we can see in color in most cases. It's very impressive. But we also have infrared illumination, because sometimes these trailers are going to go somewhere where there's 0 lighting. So we have a nice wide angle IR illuminator that can support the wide angle cameras, and you'll see they're sandwiched together. So we have a full 360 view, no blind spots. But the coolest thing, I think, is we can also see directly below. So if anybody wants to come and vandalize the unit, because that does happen, believe it or not, first thing you do is you want to go take out the deterrence and the detection device. And we've seen some interesting things, and I'm going to show you guys some examples with these trailers. These trailers find all kinds of crazy video. And not a day goes by that one of our clients isn't like, you wouldn't believe what happened. So I'll show you some examples. And then we put a PTZ on top that can see unobstructed full 360. It can look straight up to the sky. It can look straight down. So we have solved that udder of darkness problem. All right, jump into this one. We also have right here on the candelier, it's in OD green, the same camera. So this is optional. Not everybody needs this, but we do have the ability with our PTZ camera to have this spotlight on there. So long range detection and deterrence, put that spotlight on somebody and then do your live talk down. So that is for like construction sites or large areas where you want to be able to put that spotlight on somebody and really bolster that deterrence factor. We could talk more about that. We even have this with lasers. Okay, so getting into, maybe this isn't the sexiest part of the trailer, but I think it's imperative that we talk about it, and it is weight distribution. So we haven't just taken the cheapest trailer frame we could find, or just a standard trailer frame off the market and said, hey, look, let's slap some boxes on it and call it a day. What we've done is we've said, let's look at the weight balance and the ratio. Let's look at the hitch all the way back to the axle, and let's make sure this is balanced correctly. And why is this important? Well, if you've ever pulled a trailer, if you've pulled a really cheap, janky trailer and you've pulled a nice, well-balanced trailer, there's a big difference. And we want our customers and our clients to feel confident that when you put this behind your vehicle and you're towing it down the road, you don't have to have your hazards on and be in the slow lane doing 55 miles an hour or less. Almost every trailer we looked at and we talked to manufacturers, they all had either a big, huge sticker plastered on that said, do not tow above 55 miles an hour, which that's a safety concern for us because, again, I say 80 mile an hour speed limits. Nobody wants to do 55 in the slow lane. So that was a problem. But also, there's a reason why that's a speed limit ratio for that trailer. It means it's not built very robustly. And another thing, too, is we wanted to put a lot of batteries in ours. We wanted our trailers to go 10 days without any sun, at a minimum. And so to do that, we needed a really strong, well-built frame and axle. And we needed it to be balanced properly. And so you will see this with these trailers when you look at them. When you guys leave today, take some time and look at it. Notice how the axle's set back. The weight is balanced perfectly. These trailers are purpose-built for what we're doing with them. Okay, so I already talked a little bit about the 10-day autonomy. We go 10 days with 0 sun, so that's full autonomy. The caveat here is, if you put this in a parking lot and you have parking lot lighting, you're going to get some charge off the lights from your parking lot, right? You're going to get that bifacial, so we get the charge. Like wintertime, the days are short, in the wintertime. And, we get that reflection off the snow on the back during the day too, so we can charge off both sides. So we don't have to have this giant drawer of, 8 different panels that you need 10 guys to deploy. We just need the 2 very efficient panels that are easy to deploy, easy to maintain, and we can charge quick, but then we also have 1,600 amp hours of battery, so full 10 days. And what's really cool about this too is the weight ratio. So this is in the news. I'm sure everybody knows about the hurricanes that we've had. We've had 2 in the last 2 weeks in Florida. Well, interestingly, we deployed one of our mobile units to Gainesville, University of Florida campus for a study. We work very closely with the Loss Prevention Research Council. We love to find data and metrics. That's part of how like the color red and the deterrence and how well does that work from a psychological effect. Also liaising with law enforcement, how well do these trailers work? So we deployed it, and I think it was the day that we deployed that later that night into the next day, Hurricane Helene hit. And the trailer had no issues. And again, seeing is believing. So I'm going to show you guys some video. We had, just so you know, it hit the campus at what we saw was 66 mile an hour sustained winds. And there was 80,000 people that lost power in this storm, in this area. So I will play, let's see if this will work. I got a couple little shots that I took. I think I might need to play it. There we go. Okay, so here's a live shot. It's interesting, a couple things that you'll take away here. Look how stable it is in a 66 mile an hour wind, how stable the footage is. Don't worry, I have some more. So this one, jumping ahead a little bit, and I'm so glad we got this in. I think Dave Maines is in here. He got this late last night. So we just had a hurricane last night. So this trailer, this one here is in Tampa. And hurricane, it was Mitchell, right? Milton, sorry. So that hit really last night throughout the later evening yesterday into the night. Now this storm, before it hit landfall, was a Category 5, and this was the largest recorded storm, well, the 3rd largest that we have on record since the early 1800s when we started keeping track of storms, which is really interesting. By the time it hit landfall, depending on where it hit, from what I've read, it was a Cat 4 or Cat 3. Now, specifically in this area, we were monitoring this because we wanted to see how it was going to hold up, and nobody's going to go get it at this point. So it is what it is, right? But we have on the storm map, our team in Florida was tracking 116 mile an hour for sure. This trailer was in, and you can see the difference between 66 of that little clip I just showed you and this one. So I have a couple other clips of the one in Gainesville versus this one in Tampa. So this was in Tampa last night, and you can kind of compare the differences. But again, notice a couple things when I hit play. Considering how fast the wind is blowing and how much rain is coming down, notice how stable this camera is on the mast. It's impressive. You'll also notice one thing, that we have a wiper in ours. So that certainly helps. And I am happy to say that this trailer has now withstood 2 hurricanes and is still functioning perfectly today.
Very great.
Yeah, same trailer. So it's when we built this, we didn't have in mind like we need to build a trailer that can handle 116 mile an hour. Now I've heard some people say 125 mile an hour, but I know for a fact because our guys in Florida were tracking and they said we've got sustained winds. This is hurricane sustained winds at 116. So I know for sure that it withstood that. The Axis cameras did amazing. Everything's good. So that's that one. Let me show you another one here. This is interesting. This video just yesterday, I just got this yesterday. So again, thank you, Dave, because like, I don't know, midnight last night, I was like, hey, Dave, do you think you could, he's probably asleep. I'm like, do you think you could throw these videos in here really quick? This just happened yesterday. We were leaving this office, and Dave Drew, one of our guys on the Stone team, he said, hey, Rob, it looks like there might be a fire up here on the overpass. Now, a couple things here that are very notable and interesting, that when it comes to a mobile security trailer, we're the only ones that can do this. This overpass is up above this building. So with our unique design, guess what? We can look straight up. And so I just got on my phone while I was talking to somebody while we were walking out, and I spun the camera around, saw the smoke, zoomed it in. Did this on my mobile phone, so please forgive me because it's not I don't have a cool joystick. Adam's got an Xbox controller that he controls the cameras with. So I didn't have that luxury on this. It was on my phone. But you'll see what I'm talking about. And just again, notice that I'm looking up. And I don't know, it must have been just meant to be for this presentation today, because as soon as I got that camera on the target, you'll see the explosion is pretty impressive. So that's me just, okay, I hit the smoke. Okay, now I just need to go down a couple. So again, I'm using my finger on my phone. And then you'll see here, as soon as I move it, it's cool because as soon as I found that fire in the scene is when it exploded. Like the timing was impeccable. So this must have been a car fire. I haven't even had time yet to look and see exactly what it was. I'm sure it's in the news, but it looks like a vehicle fire. It's just off the side of the highway. And it was literally just right back here yesterday. So I just barely got it on there, and then this. So yeah, that's crazy. So let me see if this other one will play. This just shows you, so you can see it's up above. And so I wanted to show this quick little shot because it just shows how nice it is to be unobstructed. Other mobile units out there, again, with the mast in the way, you'd have to be like, oh, that's the wrong one. Let me hurry and jump over to the other camera because now I'm seeing the mast. Or I can't look up that high because you have a horizon restriction with dome PTZs, right? So that's why I wanted to show that, because it worked. Okay, this is back in Gainesville. This is the hemispheric camera with light finder. So it just kind of shows you during Helene, the shot. This is just a still shot, just shows you that we're still seeing in color. Really nice. Even in bad weather, we still have good coverage of situational awareness. Not to mention, I can see the trailer. So I really wanted to note, that's something to note. We can see the trailer itself, right? So if it were to be vandalized or damaged, and especially in like a storm like this, it's nice to be able to say, okay, I can see what's going on with my asset. Like I know, are my panels good? Are they getting ripped off? Is there somebody underneath the trailer that's cutting cables or trying to pop the lid? And then we use analytics like Quang talked about earlier. So the camera knows that's a person and they're right by the trailer. They shouldn't be there. Fire off the strobe, kick the spotlight on, send an email, send a text alert, send it to our guard service so they can dispatch somebody, or make that 130 decibel speaker horn yell at them so that they get the heck out of there, right? So these are all things. You can't do that if you can't see the trailer. So that's very important. And we have one of these on each side. So here's a shot during this. This is Helene, 2 weeks ago. So you can see the clouds up above and just moving the camera. And again, this one is completely different than the 116 mile an hour wind, 66. But again, notice how stable it is as you're moving it. And then same thing here, just the ability to have that wiper blade. With the traditional dome PTZ, you don't get that. So you're looking through, a mess, a really dirty dome, especially over time. Those get really dirty over time. Okay, so here's another one. Winter, in the snowstorms, if you can't see, what good is the camera? So this was after a blizzard in Colorado. Easily able to just hit that wiper, and now you can see. And it seems like something so simple, but it's imperative to have, otherwise your system is rendered useless. So a couple things here. Rapid deployment. We can literally deploy this with one person in 10 minutes or less. This is not a complicated solution to deploy. And that's something that we're very proud of. We have worked really, really hard. You'll notice even our outriggers, we don't have a little hand crank that you have to sit there and spin. You just have your 3/4 inch drill bit. You hit that with your impact driver and you're done in 30 seconds, right? So just simple things like that. People that use them built it, right? So that's where we're able to think of a lot of things that are important. So just a couple of things to recap here we can do. So all of the firmware on all of the devices is fully automated. We don't have to go out there once a year and do a firmware update. It's fully pushed from the cloud to all the devices. We have less power draw. We draw sub 100 watts. So you think about an incandescent light bulb, it draws 100 watts. We draw the full trailer sub 100 watts. So very efficient on the power draw. Shallow data usage, because we record everything local to the device natively, and that is something, again, if you listen to the Axis presentation, Quang talked about clean metadata. So Axis has extremely clean metadata because it's being handled right at the edge, right? So all of the object-based detection, color of clothing, that's all being done native at the edge, and that's exactly how we do it. We don't have another server to process this or another gateway to have to deal with it. It's all native to the device. And it's stored locally. We're not streaming this data to the cloud, so we're not chewing up your bandwidth and your data on a cell connection. We also have the ability to run on all cell towers. So when it comes to these hurricanes, for example, when Verizon tower went down, well, then we seek out who's got the best signal strength that's up, and we connect to that. And we run on all cell towers. So that's a very nice thing that we have. And the bandwidth is not throttled. So our bandwidth is fully opened up. So a lot of these consumer cell plans, they'll say, hey, for $50 a month, you get unlimited data. Well, no, you don't really, because they start to throttle once they see that you use too much. Our data plan is fully opened and not throttled. Let's see if this will play here. So this is one that I just want to show. Let me make sure I'm good on time. I think we're good on time. Okay, so this is one. I just want to talk a little bit about use cases. I think that's a good way to kind of bring this home. So what are some use cases of these mobile units? Well, we talked and I showed you guys examples of hurricanes, natural disasters. So they're very useful for those types of applications because you're going to lose power, which that happened last night. The place that this one trailer was at in Tampa lost power completely. They probably still have the power out right now. I haven't checked, but throughout the whole night, they had no power. They had no data. Their data went down. The UPSs went down because you're out of power for too long. So you can get surveillance and protection and deterrence in the 5Ds in areas where you don't have power or you don't have control of the power, and areas where you don't have data or you don't have control of the data. If you think about it, anybody that's an end user in here, if you want to tap into the production data system, how many hoops do you have to jump through, right? To get a new product approved, cybersecurity, you name it, right? There's a lot you have to go through. The trailers are fully self-contained, fully autonomous, right? We don't need to worry about power. We have it. It's fully self-contained. We don't need to worry about data. We're running on a cell connection, fully self-contained. We don't need to worry about storage. It's fully cloud managed. We don't need to worry about clients or thin or thick clients because it's browser based. It's cloud managed. So really easy to deploy anywhere. So natural disasters is a big one. The other one is this situation here. So this is an area in Colorado. I heard Cliff laugh, he knows. This is an area in Colorado where you can see this is a nice area. It's a walking path, a bike path. Families like to go here. Well, what's going on here? It's pretty easy to see. As I've been talking, you guys can see this area is being overran with vagrancy concerns. And so people are uncomfortable and or unsafe, or at the very minimum, they feel unsafe walking through this area. So how do you clean this up? Well, you could look at, do we set poles? Do we trench? Do we get fiber? Do we get power dropped? This could be a multi-year process to solve. Or you roll up a system on wheels that's fully self-contained and the problem is solved, because it also couples deterrence with it, right? So you look at what's going on here. Where's the deterrence? Well, I don't know if you've noticed, but these guys once in a while will turn around and look up at the cameras. Why are they looking up at the cameras? It's because the cameras are talking to them. This system is talking to them and telling them, you can't be here. You guys shouldn't be here. What are you doing? And so they're annoyed because this is their pad. This trailer just barely got dropped here, by the way. This barely got dropped here. And these guys are out here. This is their spot. This is their turf, right? This is their spot. They're not going to be obstructed by this trailer now. But all of a sudden, this trailer is really annoying. It's talking to them. It's telling them to leave. You can't be here. But even more importantly, this is going to dispatch center. All right? This is being monitored. This is going to the guard service. And the guard service is talking to them and saying, you guys can't go. And they have clear instructions of what they have an SOP, right? Here's what we're supposed to do. If these guys don't leave, if they stay, then what do we need to do? And so as this is going on, they're on with dispatch. And the dispatch, if you can kind of see in the way background, there's a patrol vehicle back there. So they're not too far away. But just a few minutes later, you'll see our friends in blue are able to show up. They know exactly who they're looking for. This has already been relayed real time. It's all recorded. So you can go back and review what happened. If there was anything that happened there was no violence or anything in that case. But you have that clear, actionable data. These don't sleep. They don't forget what happened. They don't embellish. It's human nature. If anybody's ever been in a high-stress situation, you know, sometimes people think they see something that didn't actually happen. And it's not because they're doing it on purpose. It's because that when that dopamine hits, you think that you saw something and you really truly believe that happened, right? So these tell the true story, and these have a bird's eye view, and it's all recorded. So to sum it all up, what does the solution offer? Well, we talked about the 5Ds. We talked about intelligent dynamic lighting a little bit. But just to really kind of drive that home, we have you, when you guys go look at it, at the end of the day when you walk out, you'll see the white light LEDs up top. Those can trigger based on object detection, not pixel based, but actual object detection. It knows that's a person. It knows that person's in that zone. We fire those lights. That's a great deterrent. My number 1D, right? So remember that. So dynamic, active, intelligent lighting. It's also, if it's tied to a security operations center, it's tied back to them. They can hit that light. They can pulsate it. They can turn that on and provide that active deterrence with live talk down or pre-recorded messages, real time. Adaptive alerting. So we can escalate and adapt based on what's going on. How many people are there? How many vehicles are there? How long are they there? Time in area. Which direction did they travel? So we can be adaptive. Two-way talk down. So that can be live or pre-recorded. Talked about object analytics, the 360-degree coverage. So we tell the full story, right? We don't have blind spots. We're not missing things. Cloud-based storage. So it records to the edge, but then all of your forensics and data sharing and file sharing of cases is all cloud managed. So once you download that case, I can share that as many times as I want to, whoever I want, without having to keep hitting that data plan on that trailer. So the cloud managed storage is very powerful. And cloud case managed in the cloud as well. So we can save those cases indefinitely. So at the end, I guess to wrap it all up, I want to thank everybody for being here for the time. You can see here, I put this picture, saved this one for last. So I want to show we can deliver these. We can ship them in mass quantities. We're building them very quickly now. We've got our own production facility in place, thanks to a lot of people on the Stone team and a lot of help with our partners, making sure we have product on time and where we need it. And we're happy to answer any questions that anybody has. Thank you.